Welcome back to the shop, my friends. Steve here at SKS Props, and this is part 2 in my HD foam Punisher armor build. Now, in this video, I am going to go back and add some additional details to the front, namely some shoulder strap details and blood effects. But after that, I'm going to be focusing on the back armor, which means by the end of the video, I'll have a completed Punisher vest. And if you would like to make your own, I of course have free PDF files available over on my website that you can download to build right along with me. And just like all the rest of my builds, this is made completely out of my HD foam, which you can find over at Blick Art Materials. And if you like my content, you want to support the channel, by all means, go through the links that are in the description section. It really does make a difference. I am a small business owner, and every little bit helps. So, I want to show you what it takes to put Punisher's vest together. Let's go ahead and get started. Before I fabricate the back, I need to finish a few details on the front. To make the shoulder straps, I'm going to be using some D-rings and some nylon webbing. The strap will be hot glued around the end of a D-ring and then fed through a tri-glide until it looks like this. A small 1-inch slit is cut through the layers of foam using a well-sharpened hobby knife. The strap can then be fed through until the tri-glide meets up with the cut. The process of assembly and insertion of the strap can then be repeated for the opposite side. The rest of the nylon webbing on the back side can then be fed through 1/2 of a parachute clip. This will allow me to attach the front to the back, but make it adjustable and an easy release. After the strap has been hot glued into place, any additional nylon webbing can be trimmed away if necessary. After assembly on both sides is complete, this is what the front shoulder strap details should look like. Now it's time to start fabrication on the back, and I'm going to take part A, which is going to make up the shoulder blades. This is going to be traced and cut out of some 6mm foam. And while I have the foam handy, part B is also going to be traced and cut out of the same size. All the pieces on the back are going to be layered just like the front. To adjust the width of the shoulder blades, part C is going to go in between these pieces. And because I want this to have a little bit of flex, it will be traced and cut out of 4mm foam. Before all these pieces can be glued together, I go ahead and round over the edges with my rotary tool and do a light heat treatment. This will allow me to manipulate the foam and give it a slight curve, better replicating the contours of the upper back. Just like I had done with some of the pieces on the front, parts A and B are going to be glued together, but while the foam is curved. Now, one of the tricky things was making sure that both of these pieces had the exact same type of curve, so go slow and try to match them as best you can. To fabricate the armor in the middle of the back, I'm going to be using parts D and E. These are going to be traced and cut out of some 4mm foam. Now notice I did make a faint pencil line where the shoulder blades need to come down on my piece, but this could be different on yours depending on your height. The same process of heating up the foam and manipulating the shape can be done to these parts as well. Now, just like before, because this is a large piece, I would recommend to glue the top first, and then slowly roll the foam to the bottom to get that gradual curve. Once you have correct placement for yours, go ahead and mark that with a pencil, and then you can glue together the shoulder blade sections with the middle of the back. I have 2 more sections that are going to make up the lower back, and these will be made out of parts F and G, which are also going to be traced and cut out of some 4mm foam. Now, while the upper and middle sections of the backs had curves to them, this lower section is going to be assembled flat. And that's because when all of these sections are glued together, it's going to start with a gradual curve at the top, and then diminish as it moves down the back. That way the whole armor piece can fit my body properly. To make up the sides, we're going to be using part H. This section is not going to be layered, so it just needs to be traced and cut out of some 6mm foam. This will help wrap it around the sides of the body a little bit easier. And depending on your body, you could always increase or decrease the width of this depending on how much armor you'd like to show. To get the correct curve to the back, I start by attaching the bottom first to the back side of part F. Then as I work my way up the back, I curve this piece to match. And you will notice there's going to be a small gap where the middle and lower sections of the back meet. This will be important for later on because nylon straps will be inserted into here and glued on the back side. Before I start priming and painting the piece, I want to go ahead and add my battle damage to the foam. So I go ahead and add a few small marks here and there, like he's been hugging the wall for cover. After a final heat treatment on the foam, I can start the painting and priming process. Like the front, I applied a few light coats of Plasti-Dip, as well as a dusting of the Krylon Flat Black. Now, even though I'm not painting a skull on the back, I want to treat it the same as I did the front. So I'm going to be adding a wash of Liquitex Mars Black using a 1-inch mop brush and a lot of water. To connect the shoulder straps at the top, I'm going to be cutting 2 strips of nylon webbing at approximately 12 inches. The ends of these will be fed through the other half of the parachute clip. The end of this is going to be hot glued into place, but it leaves enough material so that it will be fully adjustable. And on my build, the strap sits approximately 1 inch from the outside edge, so I want to make sure to replicate that for the opposite side. And with the straps glued into place, these top sections can be clipped together. Here's the gap that I had mentioned earlier where the strap will be inserted. This is going to wrap around the side of the body and meet up with the other half of the parachute clip on the front. So once again, I cut about 12 inches of strip material and I push that through into the back. From here I could hot glue it into place, and notice that the strap does have a slight angle down. Having the straps at this angle will make sure that they line up exactly where I want them to on the front. Just like I had done for the front, one half of the parachute clip can be glued to some nylon webbing, and this is going to be assembled right underneath of the eye. Threading the nylon from the back through the other half of the parachute clip, you can see how they now line up. Now while figuring all these straps out, I did have a friend come over to the shop. He tried on the vest while I figured out placement and links for all of these pieces. So I will say if you got a friend that could help you out, it will make this part of the process a lot easier. For the lower side strap, I wanted these pretty tight so that the vest was form-fitting, and at least on my build, the other strap was going to line up approximately 3 inches from the bottom of part F. Like the upper strap, I once again cut 12 inches of nylon and inserted that into the lower back. This is going to be more material than I need, and I can trim away the excess once it's finally assembled. Small strips of nylon are once again cut and glued for the front half of the parachute clip, and here you can see I changed the placement just a little bit to what I had previously marked, but the straps line up great and the sides of the armor are complete. Now this is going to be an additional step, but to replicate the look of the show, I'm going to add some permablood to the surface. This is a pretty awesome costuming blood with a very accurate texture and consistency, and the things I really like about it is that it can be layered and it will continue to have this gloss shine even after it dries. I start by blocking in a lot of the larger areas with my finger, making sure to always go back and forth to the reference. Then to dial it in, I switch over to a smaller brush where I can stipple the permablood on. And for a final pass, I'd like to add a little bit of spray. So I get out an old stiff bristled toothbrush, and I slightly water down the permablood so that it can easily be flicked from the bristles. And I can always tidy it up by removing excess with a damp paper towel before it dries. But after the permablood cures, the textures and vibrancy of the color looks great. Now he does have some metallic details on the sides, and to simulate these I'm going to be using some 3mm rivets. Now I'm not actually going to rivet the foam, I'm going to pop the nail out using a wooden mallet. Then using a metal scribe I can poke through the layers of foam. Now the holes are pretty small, so the grab that it has on the rivet head should be fine, but if you're ever worried you could always add a little bit of super glue. But a tiny metallic detail like this really bumps up the believability of the armor. And with all my fabrication steps complete, the Punisher vest is good to go. I'm glad I was able to cross this one off my personal build list, and I hope you have fun building it as well. So you all can see what it takes to put together a really cool cosplay Punisher vest. And I know this build has been really popular online and a lot of people have been looking forward to it. And if you are building any of my builds or utilizing HD foam, be sure to tag me at SKS Props on Twitter and Instagram because I love seeing your creations. Until next time, build your best with the best. HD Foam.